Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin.
Welcome to the Nate the Bullet Podcast, show number 5, Tuesday, January 10th, 2017. At Nate the Bullet, Twitter, Facebook page, YouTube, subscribe, iTunes, the email info@natethebullet.com. Nate the Bullet is me, Wayne Roberts, and Jared Sue in the edit room with duct tape on his mouth and microphone unplugged. I didn't do it. His girlfriend did, but you knew that already. This show is sponsored by Miniature Schnauzers and Friends Rescue in Redondo Beach, California. They seriously don't have a clue I'm saying this. They're just the nonprofit I picked out of the Mr. Mushy stocking that could probably use more attention. I love all dogs, but Schnauzers are especially adorable. MSFR.org. Miniature Schnauzers. Miniature Schnauzers and Friends Rescue. MSFR.org. And when you tell them you heard about them on the Nate the Bullet podcast, they'll be sure to say, "Who the fuck is that?" Let me know if they did say that, and we'll put it under the logo on the hemp hoodies and t-shirts we have planned. That would look badass. This half hour is also sponsored by The Continuing Adventures of Fun Guy Storytime, a little book I'll be reading to you every odd-numbered show. I found it when living in Texas and was working with this girl, Heather, that I had a huge crush on. They called her Breezy. And we did things for the sheriff there that weren't on the books, if you know what I mean. I think it was 1982. Well, if you take a quarter of the money that goes into all the award shows for TV and film every year, which is a shit ton of ridiculous dough, and put it into feeding and housing the poor and caring for so many that need it, wouldn't that give the shows a chance at even more viewers? Either way, I guess I have to finally check out La La Land. Luckily, I have the screener and will actually vote for the SAG Awards. Only time I vote. They asked me once, "What do you want to be when you grow up? Grow up or grew up? Does it really matter? I don't know." But I've always wanted to be someone who doesn't have to worry about a paycheck and banks and taxes and worry about being homeless and hungry and no health care, but I want that for every single human. Most of us don't really like hearing the phrase, "there's no money for this or that to get done." And at the same time, we're taught to think things only get done because money exists. And if people didn't need money, they wouldn't do anything. But doesn't that mean people want to do a lot of things, but can't because of money? If money no longer existed, we wouldn't have to hear that phrase, and more great things would get done for infrastructure and community, and so on and so on. I work for the city and get great benefits and salary and all kinds of free perks for things. And where does the money for that job and the perks come from? I believe it to be taxpayer money, and newsflash, taxation is theft. If there was no such thing as money, everyone would work for the city because it's the community, and they would all get great benefits. What's the need for the salary? If everyone's in a system where they have the necessities of life, home, food, access to the things they want to do, then a lot more shit will get done. Cooler shit. Imagine the creativity. And we won't have to cry every 4 years about who's in the pointless White House as the next banker whore. Think about it. Wouldn't it be great to never have to think about budget for anything anymore? It's fake anyway, because the very money it's based on is. And if you're a Christian and you think Jesus is coming back, don't you think he's going to tear up the banking joke of the planet? Tear it up! Isn't that one of the things he did to get crucified in the first place in the story? So don't you think Jesus would be all for a natural law, resource-based economic model where no one is homeless or hungry and has access to all their needs? The world he envisioned, correct? I don't know. I'm just an agnostic going by the information I was given. You've got to get rid of the fake monopoly money, debt made up in a computer with almost everything automated, and no worry about money. People would have their lives to live doing what fulfills them. And wouldn't that free up a lot more people to help all those that need more help, mentally, physically, emotionally? They'll have the best, most up-to-date care, and there will be no worry of no help. And those that work in the healthcare and caregiver-type jobs won't be overworked anymore because there will be many people on staff everywhere. And those that do it will obviously be those that want to do it. A lot that are in the industry of today only do it for the money. A lot that are in any industry are only in it for the money. But to get there, we got to take a break first. It's 7 minutes past the hour. Time for 2-minute fun guy story time with Kitty Cat in the bowling alley arcade continued. That was decorated like the very mushrooms she was just reading about. Ain't life weird, she thought to herself. To Dorothy's amazement, Trinity's first words were, "You know what's even weirder? That the silhouette of an umbrella looks a lot like a mushroom." Dorothy was about to say, "What the fuck?" But Papa Smurf happily bounced back into the house and into Trinity's arms. Trinity was once a nanny, and many of the children she had taken care of throughout the years would text her all the time. They'd sometimes even text her with, "Knock, knock." But she was never fooled by the Wells Fargo kids. Dorothy was beginning to get a little dizzy from all the relevant information she had taken in, topped off with it seeming like Trinity could read her thoughts. "Am I blowing your mind by reading it, Dorothy?" Trinity said with a sly smile. As she nodded yes and wondered about her paranoia, Trinity then said, "Don't be paranoid. I'm only here to help. And I don't need you to tell me about what you found out about One-Eyed Willie. I, of course, already know, and that was covered in the first and third show of this podcast. So let's not waste time. You need to meet him." "Him?" thought Dorothy. "Yes, him," said Trinity. "Who?" thought Dorothy. To which Trinity immediately blurted, "His name is Stephen. I can't pronounce his last name because it's too strange. But that doesn't matter. What does matter is that you see him." Papa Smurf, who was a schnauzer, by the way, and apologies for being lazy and just now thinking that up, was of course bouncing his good eye and the continuing adventures of 2-minute fun guy story time with Kitty Cat in the bowling alley arcade will continue in show number 7. Where was I? But to get there, to get to a resource-based economy, economic model, thingy, natural law, resource-based economy, so many, just no fucking money. First thing is universal basic income and more intelligent management of resources. Desalination plants on the coasts. Some are already in place but hardly used or not at all for years. It's fucking crazy. Shortage of water? Isn't the planet more than 70% water? then why don't we intelligently manage it? Money, of course. Most everyone says they want balance. Getting rid of money is the only way to really have it. But the only way to get rid of money, you got to start with the universal basic income. Got to even it out. This isn't the forest. The same people that say, "Oh, we're all free. We are free, and this is a Christian nation," don't have a problem with people being poor. While they suck up all the dew and the dough. It's a fucking lie. We're not in the jungle. We're not in the forest. It's not about only the fittest survive. If that was true, we wouldn't have any fucking hospitals. If we really believed that, we wouldn't have any help for anyone. But we've got all these things out there. Charities. Why do we have to have fucking charities? Just get it fucking done. 1 month of charities. Just in Los Angeles alone, just for the parties, not just the money that they can't spit out the word. The money that they raise is fucking insane. And 1 month of those, just from Los Angeles, would wipe out a lot of shit and make things a lot better. I can't feel good for very long. The thought of all the people who live in places that this country bombs all the time and rapes and pillages does not allow it. Along with every day looking outside and the homeless people walking down the alleyway who definitely need help. You don't just throw those people away. They're difficult, but wow. Imagine if everybody didn't have to worry about their stupid stuff when they're doing fine. Those people could be the ones that help. There's plenty of empty buildings that could be turned into shelters or grow houses for food. There's so much shit that could be done, but none of it's done, and so little is done because of money. And one thing that bothers me as well, like, Habitat for Humanity is pretty cool. Except for the part where you see the pictures and they're still building the houses with wood. Why are we continuing to build homes that can burn the fuck down? Don't make them flammable. That's another spot where industrial hemp comes in for me. You make your home out of industrial hempcrete, you don't have to worry about your place burning down. It's fire retardant. Oh my God, he said retard. I know how it sounds, but I feel bad when I feel good. It's nice to be breathing and experiencing this life, but it's too fucking backwards and disgusting to me to feel good for too long. Do I want to laugh and make others laugh and hear others laugh? Yes. But at this point, it's just not fucking funny anymore. Those moments are so fleeting. And you get creative and then you come back out and it's still... Someone forgot to take his antidepressants. Where's my J? Didn't mean for it to get like this, but keeping it real. And it's in my head because money always, but now, today, especially because I spent a while on the phone with an old friend who's having money troubles. And I'm just tired of everybody having money troubles and the fucking stress. And the thing is, the number one killer, I believe, involves stress. Stress is a very serious thing in this fucking country, and I've been hearing that word since my dad had it from his PTSD, and it was back then it was just stress in the late 70s. You're just stressed out. Because he's never done any work after coming home from a place like the Vietnam War. You're just stressed. Now that you're back from doing all that nasty shit that you shouldn't have done, time for you to go out there and make money. And make sure you make it and have a family. And even though things are really shitty here in the 70s and they ain't like when your parents grew up, man, it's just constant. It keeps going and going. But now, we're going to lighten things up for just a bit. How about that?
This is Bartholomew Joseph Stonebreaker III with a bit of juice on the farm. Meryl Streep's acceptance speech for her Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award at the Golden Globes was just wrong in so many ways. She said she lost her mind earlier this year, and then proved it, right after she told us she lost her voice at a Cannibal Corpse concert. At least I think that's what she said. How unprofessional, and then to show off knowing where everyone in the room was born, except for Sylvester Stallone's daughters. Why didn't you mention where the Donald was born, sister? He was the subject of your vile rant. So you know, it was Hill Valley, California, where he was mostly raised by his grandmother Gertrude and went to Hill Valley High. And thanks to a car that was mainly funded by cocaine, he was able to build a tower with his name on it. But he changed his name so Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale couldn't get royalty fees, and what did he prove in that biography that Zemeckis and Gale made? That he makes fun of people. So what's the problem, Merle? You made fun of Anne Hathaway for a whole movie, for all her physical ailments. And what were you doing? You were imitating the Donald. This has been a bit of juice with Bartholomew Joseph Stonebreaker III on the farm. I proved my point.
He did prove a point. In the weirdest way I've ever heard. I was out when the Golden Globes, as soon as Billy Bob beat Bob Odenkirk, I was done. That felt just like a slap in the face. Another reason, because one of his partners, Rhea Seehorn, she wasn't even nominated, and not nominated for an Emmy. That's bullshit. That's one of the best motherfucking shows on the TV. And she's part of the reason. And dude, Odenkirk with all that dialogue he has to do. Did you know last year, it was last year, before they shot the second season, he had to go, I think, 3 months without talking. Doctor's orders. It was 2 or 3 months. It was at least 2. And he was not allowed to talk. And he was kind of joking when they said, "What's that all about?" I think I heard it on I think it was the Insider podcast for season 1. Towards the end, and he was talking about how, before we do the next season, I'm not going to be able to talk for a while, doctor's orders. And I think Vince Gilligan asked why. And only half joking said, most likely from screaming in LA traffic. That is classic. Because that's another thing taken care of in a natural law, resource-based economic model. We wouldn't have that kind of fucking traffic and nobody be complaining about it anymore. Every day on the roads would look like fucking Christmas. If you live somewhere where it's not all that populated and it looks like that anyway every day, good for you. But boy, what a difference during the holidays in Los Angeles. That 2 weeks is gorgeous. I never go anywhere. I don't travel on the holidays. Fuck, I don't travel at all. Where was I last? Florida? January, February, March, April, May. I think it was April of last year. I went to Fort Myers and Fort Lauderdale to see some friends. And I was completely blown away when I drove over from Fort Myers to Fort Lauderdale, crossed the Alligator Alley, and then it turns into 595 and heads straight east to the ocean of Fort Lauderdale, well, actually Hollywood, Florida. And I hadn't been there in quite a few years. And the last time I was there, 595 wasn't 6 fucking lanes. It was 6 or, I think it might have been 7 at one point. 7 lanes just going east. And still, nothing but a fucking logjam. I really thought I might have a panic attack because it was just so closed in and the humidity, everything was coming back. I really don't care for South Florida. Spent a lot of years there, but I don't care to go back. And all I'm thinking is because his name is attached to it now with the Hyperloop, but before it was previously known as Evacuated Tube Transport. But Elon Musk, that's all I'm thinking about. This is what we could have. Why have 7 lanes spread out? If we had the Hyperloop / Evacuated Tube Transport, whatever you want to call it, where could you put it? You could put it straight down the middle of the highway. Money is the only reason those things aren't here yet. And money is the reason why the electric cars, the tram system way back in the day got obliterated, because if we'd have just kept that and kept improving, Hyperloop would have been in, or the Evacuated Tube Transport would have been going a long time ago. But they destroyed that stuff so they could sell more cars and build more roads, because all that shit was oil. I believe it's part of the plot of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Who Killed the Electric Car? If you haven't seen that, I believe that's what it's about. I can't remember because it's been so ding-dang long, and I didn't realize I was going to be bringing that up, so I didn't bother looking it up. So there's. Boy, I really hope I don't sound too poopy-doopy. I'm making this fucking show to put smiles on the face, and then I feel bad after every one of them going, geez, I spend a little too much time pissing and moaning. I'm pissing and moaning for the right reasons, but I also don't want it to, I don't fucking know. And just because I say, oh, I've been in radio, blah, blah, doesn't mean I'm great at it. I haven't actually, this is the first radio kind of thing I've done since 2011. So I'm a bit rusty. Bet you didn't know I was Clark Griswold's son, did you? Yeah, that wasn't the best joke, but it was there. I saw it. I grabbed it. I ran. It's 24 past the hour. It's time for a minute of sports in the prop plane. The NFL sucks for many ways. Gonna keep pounding on that. But I still like a few hours of good football and want a hair of sports in the show. Went 3-1 on the wild card picks, and the one loss kept Pete from crying, but of course, they got away with a lot. Again, Houston beating the Patriots would be the upset of the decade, which is why it won't happen. If the Falcons lose, I'm no longer watching. Hoping the Chiefs quiet the Steelers, but it'll be tough. And I hope the Pack run the table, but lose to the Chiefs, a team who hasn't won it all since before I was born. That's my pick. Wouldn't that be fun? A team who hasn't won it in forever, somebody new? Good golly, and doesn't Alex Smith deserve something? But it all comes down to this. Fuck Daniel Snyder and the Redskins for not changing the name yet. Man, there are a lot of running jokes on this show, aren't there? That's actually part of the fun. I know we don't have a whole lot of listeners just yet. We're just getting off the boards and not doing much promotion at all because we're still working on some other things as well, trying to make this all kinds of stuff. But one thing I'm always thinking about is all the little, not saying that I'm Vince Gilligan or some genius maker at all. That's the last fucking thing I'm saying. But one thing I've done in the setup of this show is there's a lot of, I would say, Easter eggs. In the meaning of how, for some, I would say, somebody like me would be listening going, wait a minute, what does that mean? What does that mean? And then sit there and look it up and like, I always find, all the different stories from the books. That's kind of fun. I do that on purpose, changing that up every show, so make you go, what movie was that? Some of them are easier than others. I believe this show's was, I made this one a little tougher. But thanks to the internet, kind of makes it easy to figure it out. You just have to type in a few things and stuff will pop up and bam! But point is, I'm putting work into it. It's not the greatest thing you've ever heard. But keeping it at 30 minutes as opposed to an hour or two like most, you should be thanking me. If you're an actual listener. Who is this guy? People are saying, what the fuck is he talking about? Maglev, evacuated tube transport, no money, Jesus was a mushroom. Who the fuck is this freak? Who spit this son of a bitch out of their vagina? And who's the freak that spit out the semen? And speaking of the vagina, how crazy was she to be with the crazy fuck with the crazy fucking semen? And as a kid, I would sit there and listen to people talk about my parents that way. Therapists are weird. Some of them. How many have you had today? I haven't had one in a while. I don't want another one. Man, that is where I could start sounding like a Scientologist. Which I am not and never would be. Again, I would never have any cult, and they wouldn't have me. When I first actually moved to Los Angeles, I went to the Celebrity Center not knowing what the fuck it was. I went there for an audition for a commercial. And it was a quick thing submitted, and then didn't really pay attention to where it was coming from at the time because I was a lot dumber than I am now. But I do remember it said Dianetics, I think, but that didn't really, I was like, I think I know that, but whatever, let's go. I went into that place and still not knowing about the Scientology thing, looking around and all the people that would talk to me that seemed to work there, I literally thought I stepped into a Stepford Wives movie. They all had this weird blankness in their eyes, and I'm not making this shit up. I was, where the fuck am I? And it was one of those to where at the end of it all, when I realized, holy shit, I was in a fucking Scientology hold. What the fuck? I didn't even know. And felt stupid. But thank Jesus when I didn't get the gig. Holy shit, another show down. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, everybody. Be well, bullets. Can't believe it's over. Daddy loves you. Stop looking at me, man.